listening to Peace of Mind. I'm Kayleigh Frost, Head of Clinical Support at Health Assured. Today we're going to be discussing digital wellbeing, and I'm joined by two esteemed colleagues from Health Assured from our digital wellbeing department, and they're going to help me unpick what digital wellbeing is, look at the benefits and the challenges, and see how it can benefit more people. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to my colleagues. Jason.
Hello. Yes, my name's Jason. I am the Digital Counselling Manager here at Health Assured. I look after the digital counselling team, who mainly support via the live chat function, email support and live video as well.
Brilliant. Sophia?
Yeah, so my name is Sofia. I'm one of the digital wellbeing counsellors. So I look at pretty much just going through live chat, supporting our clients through email, video call. I'm just more on the forefront of doing that counselling work for our clients.
Brilliant. I'm so glad that you both could join, because you're giving two different sides of the coin there. You're running a service of digital wellbeing provisions, you are delivering the services, which is absolutely valuable to us. Now, obviously, you both agreed to join me today, but what was it that interested you into wanting to come and have this discussion with me and you be the voice of digital wellbeing?
Yeah, I think it's more to highlight the service that we offer in terms of the digital platforms. You know, it is a really growing kind of department at the moment, and it's just to really explain what we do, what digital wellbeing is, and the benefits of that as well. So that's the main reason for me taking part today.
Yeah, I agree a lot with what Jason said there. I think especially from being on the job, I've really noticed how important it is and like how valuable the services are to our clients and to everyone. So I think coming on and having these open discussions are really important.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Yeah. So we service over 13 million people that have got access to us, and predominantly we're a helpline. You know, that is the core of an assistance programme that will never go away. But in the past, I mean, I've been with Health Assured for 6 years now, and digital wellbeing 6 years ago was probably 4 or 5 emails a day because someone was going, "Hi, do I have access to counselling?" You know, it was more of a service inquiry, not people necessarily leaping into their first interaction about wellbeing. Very different operation now, isn't it? Jason, do you want to talk to us a little bit?
Yeah, just to pick up on that, actually, it is explaining that it is counselling support that we are offering. It's not just the service inquiries that we're receiving. It is individuals really reaching out for that kind of support, and us being able to kind of break down the barriers in terms of receiving that support. Not everyone wants to pick up the phone. Not everyone can pick up the phone, and the fact that we've got an avenue in terms of the offering that support via the live chat function, via the live video function as well, where individuals can actually see a counsellor, is fantastic to be able to offer that. And the growth in the digital team just in the past couple of months alone has been fantastic. So it's really great to be part of that kind of team and part of that journey where we're going to at the moment.
So digital wellbeing means loads of different things to loads of different people. And we were saying just before, oh gosh, people might think digital wellbeing, we're going to look at trolling, cyberbullying, even things like, FOMO and all, digital wellbeing from a social media space. And you know what, we can absolutely touch on that, and we can probably do a whole 10-part series on that. But I really wanted to focus today's conversations around that breaking the barrier piece. Our calls into our helpline will never go away, and I hope they continue, because that is, for the past 2 years, 250,000 people calling every year. Amazing that we can reach that many individuals. But the provision that we have for digital wellbeing, like I said, once upon a time was a couple of emails a day. Now there is a dedicated team. That's just outstanding, and you must be so proud, Jason, to take ownership of that team.
Yeah, the team are fantastic. I mean, we've seen a month-on-month increase in terms of the amount of live chats that we're receiving to the helpline. So again, just really kind of being as available as possible to help as many people support as possible. But it is kind of just looking at the kind of support that we offer is exactly the same as the helpline. We still offer, the counselling skills, which is really, really important. But it's just on a digital format, which is, great benefits to people that, like I mentioned, can't always pick up that phone call.
And those people that can't always pick up the phone, make a call to us, what types of individuals do you see, Sophia, coming into you on a daily basis?
Yeah, I feel like the more I go, I've been on digital for the longer that list gets. Like there's so many different types of people. We get a lot of people that are neurodivergent come on. A lot of people, like we said, they struggle to open up about their feelings. They struggle to open up about their emotions. Especially on live chat and video call, I think there's that anonymity.
We won't need to cut that one out. You nailed it.
Like there's that I can't even say it again. The word
anonymity.
Should
get a subtitle underneath.
So I think that people find that very safe and comforting for them, because they can also they can almost dip their toe into it a little bit, because then I think sometimes when people struggle to open up, they don't know how it's going to be received from the other person. So we get a lot of people like coming on to live chat and they're just like, okay,
especially from a risk point of view as well. We get a lot of individuals that reach out via live chat that are in a domestic violence relationship, you know, and they don't always have time to pick up that call, or the kids are around, or partners checking the phone, whatever it may be, for them just to, you know, while they're in bed or whatever it is, reach out for that support and make that first step is amazing that we're able to offer that.
Is that something that you see come through, you know, people in a risk and a safeguarding, you know, concerning situation? Is that quite common?
We've had people like in domestic violence situations come on where obviously it's not safe for them to like talk on the phone, so they come on through that way as well. We get a lot of risk ones come in. Even yesterday I had someone that was having a language barrier, so they were like putting they couldn't speak English, so they were putting that through a translator app and then sending those messages over in live chat. So that's like that was new for me. That was the first time I'd seen that before. You also have like the privacy and safety reasons. You also have people just preferring to communicate on those platforms. I think it's because like that's technology now, that's just how we engage with other people. So people are just more used to communicating like that.
I agree.
Even on like live chats, some people are very poetic. And I've seen some very poetic emails, you know, because that's just how they prefer, like through words and expressing themselves. And on live chat, you can have someone talking back to you in that manner. So there's so many different reasons why people come on.
The bit about not being comfortable opening up and people being used to being, that's the way that they communicate with services and people. I speak from experience with this. I hate calling up through to like my mobile phone provider and stuff like that. I will sit and I'd rather go through sometimes feels like the pain of live chat. Sometimes you can maybe box something off a little bit faster, but I, believe it or not, get quite anxious speaking on the phone with strangers. And although counsellors, that should make people feel more comfortable, it's still a new person. If you're someone that dodges phone calls, you know, from numbers that you don't recognise, I'm that person. You know, I'm like, oh, if they want me, they'll write to me or they'll leave a message. You know, they'll text me or email me or something like that. So I prefer that. And I think typically people go, oh, you know, our digital wellbeing side, the digital counselling team, is really good for younger demographic. Now, I finally accepted I do not fall into those kind of age brackets. It's taken me a little while to accept that, but again, breaking those barriers. People think that the live chat and emails purely for our students that accessing the service. And no, you've got slightly older than student age, like myself, where that again that's a more comfortable way for me. And you know, if I was chatting with a counsellor and then you get a little bit more comfortable and then go, you know what, actually, can I just talk this through on the phone? That's a really good outcome. You know, they've warmed up to the situation. You know, like a baby deer. You know, getting like closer and closer to something until they feel safe. I think that is what we see it be really beneficial for, not just, you know, young people stuck on their phones and that being the only way that they can communicate. It's anyone that has a bit of a social anxiety or a fear of verbally talking to strangers. Yeah,
I mean, definitely. I think as like a first initial contact to reach out via email, to reach out via live chat is preferred by a lot of individuals that do struggle to kind of communicate, or if they've held things in for quite a while and they're just making that initial contact. We do find that a lot. And again, like you say, if they do want to call, they're welcome to call the helpline if needed after that initial conversation. But as a starting point, it's fantastic to be able to offer that, definitely.
When you get these individuals that you say are like poetic and then they almost purge themselves, they're purging themselves, aren't they, of these feelings and emotions and getting it all down, probably the first time they've ever really done that. Do you see, you know, after maybe a little bit of back and forth, they're then more ready to talk to a counsellor and have counselling sessions, if it's appropriate for them? Do you feel that they're a little bit more confident once they've just started?
Yeah, definitely. Like even from emails over a period of time or on live chat straight away, like sometimes you'll get to the end, because I think sometimes like when it comes to digital counselling, like when I first came in, I wasn't really sure what to expect, because I was only used to doing face-to-face counselling, I guess more traditional approaches. So then when I came onto digital, I was like, how can you create an online therapeutic relationship through an email or like through a live chat? And I think that's probably what a lot of people think as well when you first hear about it. But then I think from actually having these relationships with clients, it's something that you can definitely create that human connection. That's like at the heart of therapy. And if you can build that, you can build that through different modalities, through digital. So to answer your question, like you can definitely see the relationship blooming with them from just showing that human interaction.
How do you do that?
Because when you talk to someone, so obviously in person, you can read body language. So already going onto the helpline, you haven't got body language to go off. So that's a whole skill in itself, being able to go off verbal cues and verbal signs. What about when there's no tone of voice? There's no, pauses, verbal pauses or verbal nods like or sighs or gasps or something like that. So that's already hard enough to deal with, not having that from the telephone, not being able to look at someone. Then you're removing all those verbal cues. What about in the total written form? How do you start to build those relationships and adapt to that with your clients?
Yeah, it's just about adapting to what you have.
Yeah.
So I think even during COVID, I had to already adapt my approach to telephone. So I had to be a lot more sensitive to people's tone of voices.
Yeah.
And then on live chat, you have to take that a step further.
Yeah.
And it's just from like looking at the words, the way that people are writing things.
Yeah.
I feel like I definitely see things a lot differently, and I like my language is a lot more empathetic in the way that I write things.
Yeah.
And it's also just like exploring it, how you explore it with the client as well. Oh, can you tell me a little bit more about this? Can we explore this a little bit further?
Yeah.
So it's just really honing in on the words that they're using.
Yeah. That's it.
So it's down to words, isn't it? And I guess you become a little bit more analytical when you're looking at things.
Yeah.
And I guess it's hard to just keep it there and not take that outside of work, because your job is to interpret someone's language and overlook any spelling mistakes and stuff like that, because you're trying to get to the words that they're using, and if are there loads of ... exclamation marks, all those kind of things. I bet you have to sometimes feel like a bit of a detective, like let's try and they're masking something here or they're hiding something and they're not quite comfortable yet, just based on the language. Do you find that you have to do that?
Yeah, sometimes with some people they might be using quite limited language, so it feels like you have to dig a little bit harder at what they're trying to come through. But it's also just about just meeting the client where they are.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it. So if they're just kind of giving this much, and you give the same, then they're quite happy with that service, because that's just what they want.
Yeah.
And if they want more, they will ask for more.
Yeah.
Or they'll bring out more for you. So I think that's a good thing about digital as well, is that you can very safely meet the client. And I think that's what I think a lot of people feel very safe on the live chat.
Yeah.
We get a lot of people coming back, like, oh, I came on before, can I speak to this person again? Because it's weird how you can create such a warm environment through a digital platform.
And in terms of convenience as well for individuals reaching out for support, if someone's working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, they don't always have time to be able to pick up that phone.
Yeah.
So to have the convenience of live chat, to talk to a counsellor about, coping strategies and techniques is fantastic, especially for like a busy lifestyle. You can do it around, we are a 24-hour service as well for live chat, so someone can always reach out via that function and have that kind of support as and when they need that, which is great.
I think it's such a different... So I think when people think of digital wellbeing, like when we were talking about this originally, there's so many digital wellbeing resources out there, and apps that in that moment will serve a purpose. If it's soundscapes, breathing techniques, those types of things. We even have elements of that on our app, which is great. That's needed, but they're elements of an app. It's not the sole kind of digital wellbeing provision. We have so many different ways that we give these different digital channels out. I think what is so different with ourselves is that those other little bits, the breathing techniques that we have, the mindfulness exercises, all those, and the resources and everything on the app are they complement the real humans on the other side, which is a team. How many digital counsellors have you got?
12 currently.
Digital counsellors. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy that it's that many.
It's amazing.
I think when you started, it wasn't 12, was it?
No, there was less than that. I think there's about six or seven. So
you've
we've
doubled.
almost doubled the amount. But we've needed to meet demand because the demand for the service, especially with live chat, is
insane.
really high, which is fantastic. It's something that we're always looking, and we're always kind of so proud of what we do on the digital team, and just how many people we can support via that function. But the growth over the last couple of months has been really high, which is fantastic.
It's just amazing. Obviously, the more digital counsellors that you've got, that's the more availability for things like live chat and video calling availability as well. And that is all alongside the actual counsellors on the helpline. And I think people, when they think of live chat, I mean, when we first started talking about live chat, which was 5 years ago, I was like, we're integrating a bot system. What? We can't do that. We need real life humans. And we're like, no, we're going to have real life counsellors answering these live chats. But back then it was, people didn't trust live chat because they thought it was a bot system. That was my initial thought when we were bringing it in.
And that's what we're really passionate about, is making sure that we're worlds apart from that. So we're really offering that personalised touch.
Yeah.
We're really offering that tailored counselling support towards that individual that is reaching out for support. And like you mentioned as well, Kayleigh, in terms of the app and the resources that we have, working alongside the counselling skills. It's a human person, it is a counsellor, you are getting counselling support via them functions, which is fantastic to be able to say that, because I think the misconception is that it is a bot service sometimes. And I get a lot sometimes if I reach out via live chat, like, is this an actual person? Or are they just standard responses? Every response you will receive via our digital platforms are by a trained counsellor. So.
It's amazing.
I bet you never thought you'd be transferring your counselling skills onto live chat when you were training.
I remember when I first did my training with Kim, I was overthinking it a lot. I was thinking, like, I was watching her do it and I was like, oh, like, you're actually replying, like, you're texting someone. I was quite surprised at how human it felt. How she was communicating on it, and then it just made me think more about how that's basically what we're doing now. How I would say it to the client is how I would type it out to them. So it's just moving away from that. I mean, sometimes you even have people come on like, are you a bot? And I'm like, no.
I have to prove it.
Exactly. But then a lot of people can tell from how the conversation goes that you're not actually a bot. If you are being a human.
When someone comes onto things like live chat in distress, how do you deal with that?
So it can be difficult, especially I think on video call it can be a lot easier, almost like a telephone. You can assess first quite quickly. But on live chat it can be an email, it can take a lot longer just because it takes longer just to obtain that information. Especially on email, you never know when they're going to really reply. And on live chat as well, it's just waiting for them to type it out, but you would just assess it as you normally would on telephone. Just like taking your time. I think making sure you get the most important information, like, are you safe right now? And if they're like, I'm not safe. Trying to get their location, asking if they've, I don't know, maybe like taken anything, or if they're in a vulnerable situation. So just trying to make sure we know where they are in case we need to get emergency services over.
Have you ever had to do that? Have you ever had to get someone to safety?
I haven't yet.
Okay,
I probably will. At the end of this.
You've had quite a few high risk.
I've had a few high risk, but it doesn't happen as often when we have like immediate ones where we have to immediately get someone out there. But
and with that,
if someone is presenting as high risk, we would offer to give them a call to explore that risk further. And if not, we would manage that via the live chat function. But the priority is to make sure that individual is safe. And we've got next steps appropriately in place for them.
And we're well versed as a company in dealing with risk, but sadly we have lots of people that are in danger to themselves or a danger to others, and we have really robust processes in that, and it's, again, bots on the other side of a live chat would never be able to get someone to safety in the way that having human counsellors the other side, like, it's too much of a risk to those, you know, the people are incredibly vulnerable and they pour their heart and soul out, and sometimes we're their last port of call, you know, before potentially acting on some quite dangerous thoughts that they might have. So again, the fact that we've got human, real life, real counsellors there managing those situations is very humbling to have that, isn't it? I know that you're humbled all the time.
It is. I am. I just think what we do on the digital team is fantastic. It's really forward thinking, and it's just like you say, in terms of the support, in terms of someone reaching out at crisis point, to offer that other avenue that they can receive that support and to be part of that and part of that growth is great. But I am very, I am very proud of the team and what they do, as I'm sure the digital counsellors are as well. No, it's fantastic. I mean, because of the growth and because you are getting just as vulnerable individuals on live chat and emails and stuff, just as you are on a helpline. Again, you know, we make sure that you're not taking inbound calls at the same time as doing live chats and stuff like that, because you have to give that person your sole attention. You're not going to do 2 counselling appointments at the same time, are you? You know, you need to support those people in the moment and give them, you know, your all there. And if you've got someone calling up for legal advice, or they've got the wrong number and you're trying to help, you know, an individual at the same time, it's going to be hard work.
We definitely prioritise, like when we have like if we have a video call, we're not doing anything else. You know, or if we're doing live chats, we're making sure that we're really putting our heart into it. And like really paying attention to the client's needs. Because it's just as important. Like they're sharing things that they might be sharing on a call. So you have to treat it with just as much importance.
I absolutely agree. What do you see next then in digital wellbeing? Not just necessarily with us, but, you know, in terms of being able to, because there's thousands of digital resources out there for mental health and wellbeing, emotional support. What do you think is kind of next for us, but next for the industry as a whole, of having supportive digital pathways?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what I see next, I definitely feel like WhatsApp and things like that would play like a vital part. A lot of individuals do use WhatsApp, and again, in terms of convenience, I think that would be an avenue that will, you know, potentially we could explore with that and offer that kind of really in the moment support via that function, which I think would be great. In terms of resources, in terms of the app, so we have a fantastic app which really does promote our digital offerings within that. But I think in terms of running alongside the counselling support, you know, in terms of the coping strategies and things like that, maybe a little bit more interactive, adding a few more things onto there, I think, to work alongside the live chats would be great as well. But yeah, I definitely think just branching out to, again, break down as many barriers as we possibly can. This is
exactly it. I mean, you've already mentioned, Sophia, about the service user that used a translating piece. You know, to speak that, you know, would definitely, you know, accessibility is really important to us. We want anyone to be able to access us. You know, live chat is great for individuals, you know, that have certain anxieties about calling up, but hearing impairments and things like that. So from an accessibility perspective, the digital pathways are vital. The next thing is addressing languages. You know, if English is not your first language, you know, we have things like Language Line and stuff like that already on our helpline, and there are translation services, but to integrate things like that will be amazing.
Definitely.
Down the road,
again, like we talk about barriers and breaking that down and making sure it's as inclusive as possible to add that as an option, I think would be fantastic moving forward.
No, I absolutely agree. I always think as well, like, again, we've spoken about this. So we talk about digital wellbeing, all these things that go in and out of trend. What won't go out of style is an actual qualified counsellor. Like we keep harking back to that, you know, you know, you've spent years and probably thousands and thousands of pounds to become a counsellor over the years, you and all of our counsellors out there. That talent, that skill set, that expertise supporting these individuals will always kind of outlive trendy apps and things like that. You know, we'll always have our app that's always going to be complementing our counsellors, and that's the you know, that's always been the goal with our app. Is not to replace you guys. I think that's one of the most important things, is that people are speaking to trained professionals.
Yeah.
However that speaking looks like, you know, is it an email, is it a live chat, is it a phone call, you know, whatever. But replacing things completely with digital, you know, artificial intelligence, bots, just, you know, noises and things like that for soundscapes, just replace it. You can't replace clinical interventions with those on their own.
No, exactly right. And I think it's important to mention that we do have Wisdom AI as part of on the Wisdom app as well.
Yeah.
And the responses from that are, again, from trained counsellors.
Yeah.
They're not automatic responses that are generated. They're inputted by a trained counsellor themselves, which is really important. But
thousands
of counsellors have added.
What's his anxiety?
Has added to that. But it's great to know that that response has came from someone that knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
It's not just automatically generated. So that's really important for us to stress as well, that every bit of communication via our digital function is a trained counsellor.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just want to go right back to kind of the beginning of the conversation. Just, you know, the types of people, the individuals that access these services. You know, we touched on it not just being a particular individual. Do you think that the variety and diversity of individuals coming through on all the different avenues to the digital team, do you think that's going to keep expanding? Like, did you say it grows? It's like literally every single day there's a new type of individual that's
there's like a new reason why someone's reaching out to the services. I think especially like as the younger, because with the younger generation, I think that's why digital's going to really expand. And there's going to be a lot of growth in it, because as the younger generation get older, they're also, that's how we're ingrained to using digital. So that's just going to keep following. And it's, like things like a lot of people come on with social anxiety. Sometimes people just want coping methods. I think people will start using it a lot more. Like they'll start to see it as the service it is. And because we can accommodate so well to it, I think as a counsellor it really grows you, because, you know, you get so many different types of issues and like what the client needs coming in. So people, you know, because we can accommodate to such a wide variety of different issues, people will use the services more, because we can cover pretty much most things.
I think with the Wisdom app now as well, you know, we do really make it clear in terms of our digital offerings. You know, I know the council and the helpline will promote digital services as well. So it's really kind of letting that individual know that there is other support options available as and when needed, especially via the live chat function. So we do see a wide variety of different people reaching out, especially with live videos. So, you know, we do get quite a few individuals that do prefer that face-to-face communication.
It's a little bit more old school in that approach, where they think you have to see a counsellor.
Definitely. But that is, and again, another part of the digital offering that is really taken off as well for them individuals that do feel like they need that face-to-face communication. That's something that we can really promote within the service as well, which is great.
Like we've got so much like in terms of like Wisdom and like the digital services that we offer. There's like both ends on the spectrum. You know, if you don't even want to speak to anyone, you just want to type it out, you can use the live chat. If you want more of an interactive approach, feeling a little bit more of that personal touch, we have the video call.
Exactly.
And then we have the phone like in the middle.
So
what more could you want?
For everyone.
Trying to cover as much as we possibly can to make sure we're reaching as many people as we possibly can for that support.
And that's probably why there's been such a high demand, and so many more people have been using it, because it appeals to so many different types of people.
You mentioned before, Sophia, about, you know, like the younger generation, like the texting and, you know, being back and forth on your phone. That means, you know, as they get older, that's their way of communicating. That made me think, you know, when it's me, I don't want to call, I use live chat for everything. Days of MSN. Being on MSN and Facebook Messenger, you know, like all the time when I was younger. Again, I feel it easier to sometimes have those types of connections. And And I think that's probably why I prefer things like live chat and
Yeah.
stuff. And if it's not just me, it's going to be millions of people, you know, that are used to that back and forth interaction. And it's just a good way to make someone comfortable, you know, to then perhaps speak to a counsellor, you know, if that's then what they want to go on to. I think it would be really good actually if we just cover off because we've mentioned loads and loads of it, but, you know, cover off the actual digital services, because the list, you know, you explain it, the list is endless. So we've got live chat.
Yes. We've got live chat, we have email support, so
Yeah.
individuals that want to reach out via email
Yeah.
will support via that function. We have the live video function as well.
Yeah, live video calling.
So
yeah.
again, that's on the app, and if that individual does want to communicate via face-to-face,
Yeah.
they can do that as well.
Yeah, the live video calling as well, you literally just go on the app, don't you? And so there's a click through.
Click straight
button.
through,
Yeah.
you'll be directed straight through to one of the digital
Probably see
team.
Sophia.
You
Yeah.
will, you
Just
will.
on a video call now as
Yes,
well.
indeed.
And-
But yeah, again, that's it. That's a really big function at the moment,
Yeah.
is the live video, especially for individuals that do reach out via the helpline and
Yeah.
the structured support isn't necessarily
Yeah.
appropriate. They can always use that video function, and
Yeah.
that wouldn't be part of their entitlement as many
Yeah.
times as they want to
Yeah.
have that approach, which is great.
Yeah.
And for individuals that go on for structured counselling, there are limitations. So things like live chat and emails, you know, we use those as ways to help people in the moment, immediate support, encourage them to, you know, open up a little bit more with us. But we're not going to be doing sessions via it. Imagine
Yeah.
trying to do full appointments over email. I mean, live chat you could probably stretch to it,
Yeah,
but it wouldn't feel like the most appropriate
no.
form of, you know, having a counselling session, full 50 minutes, back and forth, you know, actually following a structure for counselling sessions. But emails, you know, it's just, imagine that. Just
Trying to do emails back and forth. You never
Yeah.
get
It'd
anything
take- it'd take
achieved.
years
Yeah.
No,
to get a
exactly.
session done. Maybe not years, but it would take a long time.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, it's like we can use it as much as we can. Like
Yeah.
we can definitely get the benefit out of
And it's
as much as we can out of it. But
yeah.
Definitely, and it's important to kind of think with that in mind then, that we give everything we possibly can within that email.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're not going back and forth, that individual is receiving that support that
Yeah.
they need. So really, counselling content for them emails that we're sending is important.
As a manager, Jason, when you're looking at the quality of our service, you know, people that are watching and listening, they'll want to go, well, how do we know that the service is being delivered appropriately? Not that I'm not questioning, because I know this.
Yeah.
I know, you know, that everyone's, you know, fully trained counsellors, have had training on dealing with the helpline, know how to do clinical assessments, have qualified and got their counselling diplomas. But what do you look for in those interactions when you're assessing the quality of an interaction between a counsellor and a service user?
Yeah, so for me, most importantly, is that we're offering that counselling support via live chat, via email. So that's what I prioritise over everything, and to obviously make sure that that individual is being supported via live chat. We do have a quality assessment framework that I look at, and again, that's just to ensure that we've got structure, we're promoting the app where appropriate, you know, we're offering them coping mechanisms and then coping techniques on the live chat with them, and looking at the structure as well. But in terms of the quality of live chats, I complete quite a few quality assessments on the team, and I'm amazed, in all honesty, in terms of the support that they're offering.
Well, you used to look after helpline teams as well, so you know
Exactly.
you know how it conveys verbally, and then seeing that translate.
Yeah, to see that, and again, when we're talking about the differences between the helpline counsellors and the digital counsellors, there's no difference.
Yeah.
We're still offering that counselling support. It's just in a different format. So to see that really come alive in text is fantastic. The team do an incredible job with supporting.
They're adapting exactly what they'd be doing verbally, like we touched on before, and then conveying that in the written tongue, and that can be really difficult for individuals to interpret.
Yeah.
How many times have we misread or overthought an email or a text or a message off someone and been like, what? So to be a counsellor doing that, you've got to nail the tone. So it's not only have you got to be an excellent clinician, but like you've got to be a wordsmith as well.
Yeah.
You've got to be good, like a creative language,
Yeah.
expert as well. You've got to make that convey. And when you touched on making sure they offer counselling support, and that's because it would be so easy to be like, well, here's the helpline, call when you're ready.
Definitely.
That person has gone on live chat for a reason, because they don't want to talk to anyone on the helpline. It's not appropriate or suitable or whatever for them in that moment. You've got to go straight in with that clinical support, haven't you?
And it's remembering that as well. On the app, there is an option for a callback.
Yeah.
So they are purposely choosing to speak to someone via live chat.
Exactly.
So we need to start straight away with that counselling support and really working out what we can do via the live chat function to offer that support to that individual. Yeah,
definitely. I feel like this is a shameless plug for our digital wellbeing services, but it is, we're here to, it's not recognised as a core pathway into our service by lots of people that have an old school traditional view on how assistance programs work. It's a counselling helpline. Well, that's incorrect anyway, because it's counselling and legal support on a helpline. People always... I'll touch on legal support in another episode. Again, people just don't realise it's there.
No.
And this is, so whilst our call levels have remained the same, like I mentioned, year on year, for the past 2 years, the inbound actual interactions, and not just inbound calls, but inbound live chats, emails, the volumes are thousands more on a year-on-year basis. Like, we're here to shed light. We want this to be tens of thousands more, so you can have 24, 36 digital counsellors.
Definitely.
And get more and more people support that are not going to call up, or are less likely to call up, and are waiting to, build, trying to figure out another way, which is the digital pathways into us.
Definitely. I think that's exactly what it is just highlighting that function that we are part of that service offering.
Yeah.
Individuals can reach out via that digital function if they need to, but they do need to know about that. And I think the tide's definitely turning in terms of, the digital team and what we offer. We've seen significant growth from last year.
Yeah.
I think in January last year we completed 436 live chats. This year we completed 3,672.
So just January, the month of January last year compared to the month of January this year.
Yeah, a massive increase.
You guys have all got like plasters on the end of your fingers from typing.
We feel that growth, definitely. We can feel that increase, but that's because more individuals are aware of what we offer now, and it's just building from that, I suppose. Yeah. Especially with the addition of the Wisdom app as well. I think it's really focusing on that, which is great.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, absolutely fantastic. I hope just from watching or listening to this, people have gone, you know what, I always wanted to speak to the assistance programme, but I didn't know how to get in touch. Yeah. Well, hopefully now people know that there's other ways, or if there's managers or university teams, student services, kind of you name it, people thinking, I know of someone that is struggling to pick up the phone, they don't want me to make a referral for them, but they want another pathway and they know they definitely need support, then absolutely need to encourage them and signpost them just into the app, get on the live chat function, get on the email function, and start talking with Sophia and the team.
Exactly.
At the end of the day. So if you can have one takeaway, or for the listeners, watchers, to come away from listening to this with one thing to think about and keep in mind, what would that be? You go first, Jason. Well, you're already on your way.
Yes, I was thinking about it. It would just be, that there is no barriers in terms of reaching out for support at Health Assured. Yeah. We open the support up to absolutely everyone via the helpline and via the digital function as well, to really fit that demographic of people that need that digital support.
Yeah. The passion just comes out. You're like, oh, I'll just go on live chat now. Yeah. I'm going to do it. There's no barriers for me.
Yeah, no barriers.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like we want people to know as well that there is that human empathy, that warmth, that non-judgmental, like you're talking to an actual person, even though it's digital. Yeah. There is like a counsellor on the other end that's really listening and really cares about what you're saying. Yeah. So it's like, even though we have that, we're not bots. Yeah. We're real people, and yeah, like I hope that makes people feel better about reaching out, that they're actually talking to someone, and that therapeutic relationship is there.
That's really
Good. And you know what? One thing I forgot to ask you, Sophia, at the start was, from your counselling specialisms, like what are your areas? You know, you're obviously you're trained to deal with literally anything because that's what comes through. Anything. But what are your specialisms? I guess if anyone's watching or listening, like I need to speak to Sophia because she specialises in.
Yeah, I'm actually quite new to like my practices. I graduated end of July. Officially, so I was doing like long-term, like counselling, person-centred therapy. But I do have my interests. I enjoy like helping people with eating disorders, grief, bereavement, loss. So I feel like those are my main
traumatic, complex matters there, aren't they?
And
No, but that's good because that's.
I mean,
that's the reality.
That's what comes through a lot, especially grief. Like those are really common ones that come on, but those are ones that I especially like specialising in. Yeah.
Well, I hope you get to develop that practice a little bit more as well. Yeah. Brilliant. I think that is a lovely time to conclude. And if we go on to any more episodes in the future of digital wellbeing, I know who to call upon or live chat upon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you both for the amazing work that you do with our service users.
Thanks, Kate.
Thank you,
You're
Kayleigh.
welcome.